the cost of connection. We live in the most connected era in human history. Messages travel instantly. Friends are always reachable. Conversations continue across platforms throughout the day. And yet, loneliness keeps appearing in everyday conversations. Something subtle has shifted. Connection used to be a byproduct of daily life. Schools created friendships, offices created colleagues who slowly became friends, neighborhoods created familiarity. Today, connection increasingly requires effort. Around that gap, a new market is emerging. Communities, curated gatherings, group travel, social discovery platforms, and membership networks are attempting to sell something that once happened by default: belonging. Digital interaction often replaces deeper connection. A large share of daily interaction now happens through quick digital gestures: a reaction, a short message, a comment before moving to the next notification. These exchanges create the sense of staying socially active, but they rarely build the emotional depth that longer conversations create. This reflection is from the substitution bias. An easier action quietly replaces a more meaningful one. A reaction replaces a call. A short exchange replaces a long conversation. The relationship continues, but often in a thinner form. Abundance makes commitment harder. Modern relationships increasingly sit inside environments built around choice. Dating platforms offer hundreds of potential matches. Professional networks surface new contacts constantly. Communities and interest groups expand endlessly online. More choice appears liberating. But behavioral research shows the opposite can happen. Choice overload suggests that when options multiply, satisfaction often falls. People hesitate, they delay commitment, they keep searching. In relationships, this can quickly and quietly weaken depth. When the next connection is always available, investing deeply in the current one becomes harder. Algorithms shape who we meet. Earlier, generations formed social circles through geography, school, work, or family. Today, introductions increasingly happen through platforms. People who appear in feeds, the profiles that surface in dating apps, and the conversations we encounter most frequently are filtered through recommendation systems. Over time, this influences how we perceive the social world. The availability heuristic explains why. People tend to believe that what they see most often represents reality. When algorithms repeatedly show certain types of people, conversations, or lifestyles, they begin to feel more common than they actually are. Our sense of social landscape becomes quietly curated. Belonging is becoming a product. Communities that once formed naturally now often appear as structured offerings. Membership networks, hobby groups, curated travel groups, professional circles, retreats built around shared interests. The product is rarely the activity itself. It is the experience of being among people who share something in common. This dynamic connects to the endowment effect. Once people join a community, they begin to value the membership more simply because it becomes something they possess. Identity and belonging attached to the group. Membership becomes part of how people see themselves. Offline interaction is becoming scarce. The more life moves online, the more physical interaction begins to feel special. Shared meals, hobby groups, walking clubs, and in person gatherings are quietly regaining appeal. What once felt routine now feels intentional. Scarcity bias explains part of this shift. When something becomes less common, people start valuing it more. Face to face interaction, once woven into daily life, now feels rarer and therefore more meaningful. In a digital world, presence itself becomes valuable. Life transitions quietly break social networks. Friendship networks used to grow slowly over long periods of shared stability. Today, many people move cities, change jobs frequently, work remotely, or navigate long phases of individual transition. Each shift quietly loosens existing connections. Yet rebuilding networks requires effort and uncertainty. Status quo bias plays a role here. People tend to stick with existing social patterns because starting new ones requires energy and vulnerability. When those patterns disappear, rebuilding them is harder than expected. None of this means people have forgotten how to connect. What has changed is the environment around connection. The institutions that once created social ties almost automatically have weakened. Work is more fluid, cities move faster, technology intermediates introductions. When something that used to happen naturally becomes rare, it slowly turns into a product. That is quite logic of the loneliness economy. It does not exist because humans stop needing each other. It exists because belonging, once effortless, now requires desire.